White Lotus Punts has been a longtime viewer of mine who's turned into making some amazing content about Pauper. We sat down to talk to him about his deck selection, what he looks for in a deck, how he reviews a deck, what made him start making content, and how his family's involved with Magic. All in this week's player profile.
Welcome to the White Lotus channel. Thanks for being here. Deck review. Paleros Golgari Ramp.
So today we have none other than White Lotus Punts, not the HBO show, but White Lotus from Magic. What's going on, man?
Oh, nothing much. Just enjoying the weekend. Kind of calm, kind of quiet.
Right.
Got some games in. It's good. Sweating my friend up in Jersey from afar in his tournament. So,
I just want to say right out of the gate, thank you so much for. I got to figure out what I'm keeping here. Thank you so much for the support over for a little while now. I really appreciate it.
oh, absolutely. It's been a pleasure. Really, it's a nice little community you have. Hopefully, it'll continue to grow. So.
It's what I'm hoping on, and I'm hoping your community will grow as well, because you just kind of started being a little bit more serious about making Magic videos. And first off, you make great videos, man. Like really, you make
Thank
really
you.
great videos. If someone who hasn't seen your channel before or anything, you wanted to describe a little bit of what you're doing with Pauper and Magic.
Yeah. So what I do, it really started by accident. So my son's in a different country, and I would talk to him about games that I was playing, and then I was like, "Well, I want to just record one with music, no commentary, just kind of put it up there." And then he would go ahead and respond and tell me all the mistakes I make per turn. Right? It's like, "Oh, you punted here," and things I wouldn't see. He's so much better in game than how I play. It's a different skill set. So I didn't even know, like, publishing unlisted, what that was like. I didn't even know it was an option. It's it's I'm not quite boomer, but Gen X. So I was posting them for him, and then other people were watching it. And then it started to grow, and people were like, "It would be nice to hear your commentary on the game itself." So the audience was kind of split. A lot of people like just watching it because they would be on break and they would just watch a quick match of 4 minutes and some music or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, "Well, I'll do one," because there was a couple of comments about adding commentary, and the first one I did that had commentary had way more views than everything else. So I'm not really trying to be a YouTuber per se. It's not a goal of mine to do. But the more content that I make, the more I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just make it, and if people like it and find value in it, I'm happy with that. So
Right on. Just a heads up, I sounds like a little bit of the fans coming through.
okay, we'll go ahead and shut that.
No worries. I just when you kind of got
Is that better?
Yeah. When you kind of got on the, I'm assuming you're using like a noise gate.
No, it's that actual fan.
No, I meant like a noise gate on your mic.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So when you got on like a little bit of that longer, hold on, I'm trying to figure out what I want to take here. That little bit of a longer run there. You had some mic come cut through. Yeah, I'm just gonna take this. But anyway, regardless, sorry about that. But yeah, your commentary is really great because you're kind of diving into like almost like deck reviewing of like you're kind of doing these deck techs before you get into the gameplay, but the deck tech is really like more of an analysis of the deck and talking about certain play patterns and certain ideas and stuff like that. And it's really cool to see kind of that process get defined there. And then you go into the games and stuff. When you're like looking at these decks, like what's your background of like how do you know how these decks are going to run, and like what kind of, what's your study, what's your your background in Magic,
Yeah,
to have that?
it's a great question. So I've been playing since '97 or '98. You, you this game, you're always in and out of the game. Like at least that's been my experience with, and most of the people that I know. So people will play pretty obsessively for a while, and then they're out of the game for a couple of years, and then they're back in the game. How long the hiatus is dependent on a variety of things. But so when I started, there wasn't even a thing called standard. It was just type 2. I didn't even know what formats were when I first started playing, which is kind of funny. Like literally, I bought cards at a 7-Eleven store because it looked like D&D. Right? So I was like, oh, that's cool. Get some fantasy stuff. Looked cool. And as soon as I played the game, my son was probably 5, 6, maybe 7 at the time. As soon as I played it, he was glued to it too. We very much the same in that regard. And just started playing it, and you instantly knew there was something special about the game. The game design. People make the chess poker analogy. It's probably more than that, because the cards in poker don't change. So yeah, that was what it is, and I really enjoy game theory. So you can look at a list and kind of see what the strategy or design is, and there's really, as far as the archetypes go, there's not really that much anything different that hasn't already been done. It's just, as Patrick Chapin would say, every deck that exists is a derivative of another deck, right? That's basically how it goes. So
that can be applied like anything, though, right? Like movies, music,
right.
like anything.
100%, 100%. Your deck will have its take on what it's doing, but no one's. Another thing Chapin said, what I thought was so insightful. He was like, as far as every deck is a derivative of another deck, he's like, if you write your first novel, when you go to write your second novel, you're not redoing the language. Right? You're not inventing a new language every single time.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, that's kind of good. So I really enjoyed probably names that people today aren't that familiar with. There's V. Moshowitz, Mike Flores, Kai Buddha. And you could just read so much on theory and structure, the fundamental turn, rule of 9, just different types of positive, negative, expected value. So, but the thing is, a lot of people aren't that interested in theory as a whole. Some, but not a lot. And so you want to get it in without going so overboard with it that they just tune out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you want to have some entertaining. And I try to break it down to what is it designed to do? What's its game plan, because they're different.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go from there about how the deck plays out, the optimal opening hand, without just getting buried in technical stuff.
So you've been playing for a pretty long time. What kind of made you get into Magic, and like what's kept you around for so long in it?
Yeah, I played D&D as a kid, in the 70s, and then I played poker for a long time, and then Magic was a progression of that, more than likely. Not that I was searching for it, just kind of found it, and just really enjoy the variance aspect of it, the strategy. And there's life parallels. If there's anybody in investing or who does that for a living, there's so much that carries over to both sides of these things. So it's you'll see a lot of former players, former pro players, Hall of Famers that are hedge fund managers, work in finance and accounting. It just has those to it. So, but yeah, it's just, I don't know. I keep coming back to it. Took a break for quite some time. I don't really play competitively anymore. I mean, I'm 50 years old, and I mean, you could still do it if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of refused. I know when I was really serious about it and really grinding it out and trying to potentially go the pro tour, the amount of time, effort, and dedication necessary is not something I want to commit to at this time, and probably never will. Right? It's some people can just pick up the game and run with it. Like, I'm not that way. My in-game actions. That's why there's punts at the end of my name, because the in-game punts are where. But some people can just pick up the game, like my son, and he can play different cards or different things that he's not seen. Just pick it up. All of a sudden, things are going like he just sees lines of play I don't see. Right. I see it more from a macro perspective, more from theory and fundamentals. So it's more meta-analysis, card selection, card choice. I'm not a brewer. It's not one of those things that I'm good at. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, and I just like the strategy really of just sitting down trying to play. So it's like competitive without really going down that rabbit hole. But I can't do anything that's not somewhat. I can't just sit down and go, yeah, let's dirtle for the next 4 hours. Some people can. There's nothing wrong with that. I just can't do it.
So back in the Pro Tour aspiration days, well, like what was that like, and what was some of your bigger accomplishments with that?
The one that probably I don't want to say necessarily I'm the originator of Call Blade. I feel like I'm going to mess up here and punt. As a lot of times you can have the same idea as somebody else at the very same time.
Mm-hmm.
How much you attacking for? 13? At the very same time as somebody else. But Call Go was the deck first. It was Squadron Hawks only. And that's how they won. And then Stoneforge Mystic was Swords, sort of, wasn't Feast and Famine yet. War and Peace, I believe, had come out. And then there was a conversation online with, very brief, with Brian Kibler. And I was like, I think the deck wants Stoneforge Mystic. And he's like, no, that's not what the deck designed to do. And if memory serves, I posted the 75 that I thought I would run. And then the very next, that weekend, somebody took that 75 list. And I think they top 4. I don't remember which Star City games they did. But it was very interesting to see. So I would assume, it's only speculation because I have no proof of it, but it looks like, oh, hang on, what is that? Bro, I thought it was a different card. Let me redo the math. See, there it is. I'm like, what?
I will say, it seems like when you're doing it, like playing Magic in this kind of environment, it lines up for more.
Yeah, I thought I was playing a different deck earlier today. I think, let's see, I think we can, let me just make sure that's right.
No, I'm gonna get burnt out.
Yeah, I thought I had improvised club in hand, but it was a different card. So, but yeah, the grind, that was like one of those things that kind of came up, and I always held on to the fact that, wow, like that conversation potentially might have changed how things went. You know, he came around to Call Blade later after that, but the that and Rug Pod, like I was on Rug Pod right when it got released. It was basically, you had just, whether you were going to be Bant Pod or Rug Pod, as soon as Birthing Pod came out, everything was, you just see it immediately, like this is going to be pretty broken. Yeah. And it certainly was. It was dominant. But as far as like really playing at high competitive level, for me, you would just run the gauntlet. I mean, just out your way, you're pushing, and you got to work for a living too. So for me, I'm pushing 30, 40 hours a week just to try and be as successful as I would want to be if I really committed myself to it. Because I can't do anything I can't half-ass it. Right? I have to, if I'm going to do it, I'm just doing it. And it's probably, now the Pro Tour has changed so much, it's probably not really worth it financially to dedicate that amount of hours to it. I mean, shit, if you're doing 40 hours on the side next to your normal job, why don't you just go study and be a lawyer or something? Do something that's got a payoff. But it used to be decent, like it was achievable, and now I don't know the payouts and stuff like that. They just
Right.
don't really.
Doesn't
They just don't
seem
do
it
it.
quite as much.
You know.
Feel that. So when you're looking at these decks, you're making videos and stuff about how are like what's your deck selection process? Like how are you finding these lists and why are these certain lists calling to you?
Yeah. Well, the one thing I try not to do is do the same thing, right? If I was just going to play or whatever, it would just be a burn channel. And it would
Mm-hmm.
just be burn variants all the time.
You dirty
And
burn player.
yeah, and like if I wanted to play competitively, I wouldn't be a content creator. Like I have a lot of respect for those people that can grind it out and just make content.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that. Like I got to play the same deck so many more times to get that much more comfortable with it. I'm not a great in-game action player, so what I feel like my skill set is in other areas that aren't watch me stream a league. Like I could do that, but there are people that are so much better at that. You would watch that stream and learn what not to do.
Yeah.
If I
I,
streamed it out.
I feel like that's my stream. You learn what not to do.
It's like, yeah, like, don't do this.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, don't try this at home, kind of thing.
Right.
So, but meta analysis and card choices, deck modification, meta calls, different things like that. Like, I'm a big proponent of. There is a certain number of decks that you're always going to have on the shelf. Burn being one of those. Stompy is one of those. Control at times. And Pauper control is a little bit difficult in my opinion. UB Terra can be a little controlish at times, but in a true traditional control sense, like standards, UW control or UB control, that's hard to pull off in Pauper. But there's different strategies and different archetypes that Red really, like go back to Patrick Sullivan, who can about burn or RDW, and then out of nowhere, he just wins. Right. He just comes in with a red deck and like he just hole in the meta and attacks it. Stompy's that way. That's very unfair of you, sir, to play that card.
Yeah, I'm trying.
It's only playable when I have multiple burn spells and Journey to Nowheres and things like that. Then you can do it. It's such a great
waiting
card.
For Journey on turn 2. That's what I was waiting
It's
on.
such a great card. Like when the set came out, you were like, I'm really excited for that. And I'm like, okay, maybe. I see where it has some usage, and it's one of my favorite cards to play. It is so punishing to UB Terror because they kind of went to the snuff out
right.
thing, and they moved all their removal to the sideboard, and it's basically a buy if that happens.
Yeah, it's so I was really blown away with I had played against when I don't know whatever the set with Gloomfang Muller came out. I played against someone running mono black control and they were cycling Gloomfang Muller and getting Witch's Cottage, and so they were like just doing that a lot, and I was like, man, I like that interaction a lot. Mm-hmm. And then I played it in practice, and there was multiple times where I was like, man, this is pretty solid. And then when this set was announced and I read this, I was like, it's all upgrade. It's all upgrade from Gloomfang Mauler except for the artwork.
Yeah.
So like
100%.
Yeah. And so I was like pretty I'm so stoked for this.
Yeah, like right now, like when you look down, you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna block this and do that. And you're like, no, you're not.
Mm-hmm.
You're not blocking it, and that it's a great card. You're going to win this game potentially.
It's
yeah, but to answer your question, what I'll do is I browse mtgdex.net and just every day I just go through it and to see what decks are doing what, who's doing this. If I see something a little different, like Gabrad's Stompy, you don't see Stompy doing that well most of the time, but in the right meta, what a meta call that is. If you see it slow down just a little bit, it will get you. And he top forward with it, which was good. In fact, he's trying to talk to me right now about it. But Burn is that way. Like walls can come out of nowhere when things are doing like if the meta switch to hyper aggro, walls is very quickly. It's a meta call, right? Like how are you getting through? So I just look at things. You'll see like Saltai control or a little bit different take on something, and yeah, you just look at it and like that's interesting. And I try to switch up. I'm not really much of a combo player. It's not my style per se.
Same.
Not that I won't do one. I'm gonna try to work this through here. Let's see what am I gonna do. Let's do that. So I'll just look through and find decks and say that's pretty interesting. If it had something, again, it doesn't have to be breaking, right? It's nothing that is
No.
like, wow, no one thought of that, that kind of
Right.
thing.
As a as well, for one, when you talk about like call it metas, I think that's why Torex is in such a bad spot right now. Is because
Mm-hmm.
like most of the meta decks is really good against us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Personally, my favorite deck of the entire format, but it's not
Yeah,
everybody's cup of tea.
I
Um,
love it.
my
To not to be competitive with it, but the style of it,
Yep.
I really enjoy it. But I certainly would not jump into a competitive league with it.
Yeah, it does everything I want to do in Magic. It does literally everything like I like to do. So how much? Okay. We're just gonna pass here. But as an actual burn player, someone who is in the cult of red, is burn a problem?
No,
No.
no, it's not. It's not in my opinion. The the reason, just from a results based thing, I
Mm-hmm.
think what burn ultimately is right now in the meta, and I certainly appreciate different or opposing opinions. I think it's a gatekeeper. So if you look at the top eight or top, just say top eight lists,
Mm-hmm.
usually what you're going to find is very few burn lists. You'll find some, right?
Yeah.
But the top eight metas are usually pretty diverse. And if you saw burn really hitting kind of, multiple top fours, top eights all the time, that kind of menace as a from actual results, then I think you have a problem. And there's a lot of variants of it, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's Kadotha, and then there's the burn version and play out. I don't think it's a problem, and I think it's a gatekeeper, and this is why I think it's a positive thing. Is it can be very quick. The ones that run 8 rec, which I'm not a fan of, I like 4 reckless, 1 Ren's Resolve as kind of the spot I like the most. But what it does do, it prevents people from doing very unfair and degenerate things. Like the opponent, if you're going to try to go multicolor and run all kinds of synergy and all kinds of different combo stuff, you have a very quick clock to get that done.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Burn is very successful at making sure, okay, if you want to do some unfair things, fine, but you have to keep the fundamental term being turn 4. I think in Pauper, you have to be able to, if at least stabilize by 4 in order to. So if it was just that oppressive, I don't think it's oppressive. It's very easily beat, right? There's plenty of answers to it. There's plenty of sideboard choices
Mm-hmm.
that don't cost a lot. White has answers, green has answers, blue has what, 4 red elemental blast, 4 pyroblast, a hydroblast. I get them confused. There's answers everywhere, so I don't think it's an issue at
So
all. I
you
think
like?
ephemera is a bigger problem, or could be a bigger problem.
I hate ephemerate. um.
Yeah, at least it's not dominating, but to
Yeah.
me, that's it. You could be ephemerate could be a bigger problem than it is if it wasn't for burn decks,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they're going off on turns 4 and 5. So red just kind of keeps things in check. There's a little gatekeeper action going on, and I don't think it's oppressive at all. I prefer the burn version over the Kadotha version
Mm-hmm.
right now, but it just goes back and forth. Like when you see people packing in the festivities, suffocating fumes, fiery cannonade, things like that. Yeah, that could be a little bit difficult. Sweepers are a thing, but when they get away from sweepers, then you can go back to the Kadotha version. But then when the sweepers come back out, you go to the burn version, and you just kind of flip back and forth.
So
like
which
that.
version do you like better, the Pinger or the Kudatha version?
I like playing the burn version, the pinger version better. I don't like was Thermo Alchemist that much.
Yeah.
At times it's wonderful, and at times I hate it.
Hmm.
It can be really frustrating to play against. But I like more the old try to do as much 3 damage as you can.
Hmm.
Just pure burn if I can. It's like you run Monastery, Flame Breather, and I like Epicure myself, but and you just try to everything else is just trying to commit to as many 3 damage as you can. You can win on turn 3 with I play more Fire Blast in the version I play six yeah I play 6 Fire Blasts. I play 3 Fire Blasts in mine, and most people run 1 or 2. Sometimes I'll play 4, but it's usually 3.
Right on. So what about you said you didn't like the 8 Rex. Why don't you like the 8 Rex?
I think it dilutes the deck far too much. It's like you're intentionally playing a grindy game, and I know card advantage is a thing, but you can't dilute that much, especially like when the first iteration of it came out. It was you've got experimental synth, Ren's Resolve, Reckless Impulse, the 1-drop artifact cantrips, and it's like this isn't burn, right?
Hmm.
This is not how you want to go about doing this. You're taking far too long to get things done. So you want to keep the pressure on, and I don't think that version necessarily does that correctly,
Gotcha.
in my opinion.
So
I don't know if I can win, bro.
I'm hoping not.
I'm gonna lose
If,
on
for
time.
anybody who doesn't know, I have a pretty poor win record against you. You normally beat me. Um, so when you come to like, what made you decide to like? You talked about people saying they want to hear your commentary and stuff. But like, what kind of
Mm.
made you decide to actually like somewhat make a schedule of like I'm going to upload like 2 videos a week and and then how did
Yeah,
you come about how you wanted to do your videos? Like why did you just choose to
yeah.
do the
Great
whole deck
question.
review style?
It was. I mean, I certainly appreciated somebody in the comment section that said, "Why don't you do that?" And it wasn't me just trying to go like, oh, "Okay, I'm going to go this direction," and
Mm-hmm.
because that's what people want. That's not my thing. Like people that know me, just like it is who he is. He's going to cuss excessively. He is going to. It's just tons of profanity. He says exactly what's on his mind. I don't insult people. I don't try to do that. But I have a very different way of speaking, and so I just I think one of the positive things about not trying to be a YouTuber, which is nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with somebody saying this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably say if your business plan was to be not you but anybody, if the business plan was to be a YouTuber for such a market as niche as Magic itself, and even more niche as Pauper, you might want to rethink your business strategy because it's extremely difficult to be profitable. You
Mm-hmm.
can do it for a hobby and maybe make some stuff, but I can't imagine anyone doing that for a living. I could be wrong, but it was just kind of doing it, and I'm like, I really, for me personally, enjoy. I'm sighing at this board. I'm looking for my outs. The I wanted to do what I thought was missing. Like people do deck tech and sideboard guides and stuff like that, but it's just more of like deck tech review and not really blow it up
Mm-hmm.
to be something that it's not. Like it's not. My titles aren't going to be like this is the greatest thing you've ever seen in the world, and if you don't do that, then something's wrong. Something it's never like that. It's just here's the deck review. Here's what's going on in it. This is its strategy. This is its game plan. Here's your optimal hands. Here's some choices for a meta call, and you just go on like that. There's nothing wrong with hyping something up,
Yeah.
but I have no desire to make money off of it or do anything at all. So whatever opinion that I give is my honest opinion.
Which I think is like
Right?
the best way. I mean, you can obviously throw out those like kind of clickbaity titles and thumbnails and stuff, but like at the end of the day, I don't. If you're not honest or have authenticity, like I personally don't think you're
Yeah.
presenting very much to begin with.
I
So,
I can be accused of a lot of things, but being inauthentic is not one of them. Usually,
which is good. I
you
think that's a
you
good
know what I'm
thing.
saying?
Yeah, I think it's authenticity is a kind of a key, and I don't know. Maybe it won't like send you to the top as quick, but I think it's better for longevity, and I think it's better for
It's really what you
humanity.
want. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
I mean,
just a
I don't
better
want
way to
anyone to
live.
think that if that's what your goal in life is, that's I'm not trying to insult the person that might make an attempt at it.
Hmm.
There's just because there's nothing wrong with wanting to be an influencer or
No.
anything like that whatsoever. It's just that that's not my goal.
Hmm.
So once you insert money into the equation, this is just like a life thing. Once you insert money into the equation, there's always going to be at least some question about why this.
Hmm.
Why are we seeing this content? Why is this being pushed? It's just what it is. You got to make a living.
Hmm.
So it's okay for people to question that, in my opinion.
No, I completely agree
How
with you.
many of those? Yeah, it's just life, man. Like you, when you insert money into things, shit gets messy
Hmm.
real quick.
Big agree.
Unfortunately, but it is the way that it is, right? Is it's who sponsorship or who benefits from this, and
Hmm.
why are they saying that? I mean, I know a person that was trying to influence the meta publicly with a certain deck that he was playing, so he could then change his deck to benefit when he entered. I'm like, there's no limit. Do you have a bunch of these Golgari Brown scales?
I
I
have
only see one
one.
in the
I only have
graveyard.
one
You
right
have one in
now.
the graveyard.
Yeah, I can't find the other ones.
So
Trying
you
to,
gain
but
2 life, right?
yeah.
Um, I need 3 red mana. Let me do the math. 1, 2, 4, 10. This you two. 10, 13.
What do you got? Like
I'm so close, bro.
three Gal Blasts in hand.
Um, hmm. You've got 3 of these Necromancers, right?
Yeah.
That sucks for
I
me.
don't say yeah, maybe for you, but like for me, it's looking pretty good.
But I do have a lot of respect though for people that can just grind shit out, grind
Hmm.
magic out competitively, and I got 2 graveyards open, and just and put out that kind of. I just can't do that, but I'm just me, man. I'm just me. See,
I
that's a
get that.
punt, bro. I shouldn't even possibly be doing that. I shouldn't be targeting. I should just gain some life, try to benefit off of it.
I mean, I don't have
Don't
another.
do that.
What?
I was like, whoever's watching, like, don't do that. Don't target it.
Oh,
I figured you had a creature in your hand. I wasn't really paying attention to what you were bringing back and forth.
yeah. That's what. So I'm trying the exhumes because I was talking to Teasdale over the weekend, and he was talking to me about Torex. I always say Torex. I know it's Tortex. But Tortex sounds weird
Mhm.
to me. I don't like the way it sounds, so I go Torex. Well, we was talking about it, and he was talking about Exhume also having the Trollin package. I was like, man, I kind of like that. I was like, that's actually like kind of cool. So I'm trying it right
So
now, and
he's
I kind of like it.
running Exhume in the tort in the. You actually, when I heard you say it once, because I always called it Tortex, and
Hmm.
if you actually look up Tortex, it comes back with some kind of like plastic liner shit, like
Yeah, because it's like truck
turtle
liner, ain't it?
shell. Yeah. So, and you were like, I really like Torex better. It sounds better. I'm like, yeah, I never thought I would say yes, but yeah, I'll go with Torex. I like it better and name.
Yeah, I say I like it. I don't know. It sounds. It's the way it like to me. It's the way it sounds like it's supposed to sound like. Wait,
I'm
what did
100%
what did
losing
you
this match.
what did you target with Dawnbringer? I thought you targeted Tortured Existence.
No, I targeted your
Brown
brown
scale.
scale.
Oh,
Yeah,
Okay.
I wasn't really paying attention much on like that. I
Okay.
think I hit a F6.
Yeah,
So
because
I'm more into I'm like talking to you and playing this so badly. But
right.
yeah, I like Torex for sure for on that. And then really as far as the channel goes, I was like I personally enjoy doing kind of a fundamental breakdown without going too lengthy, some theory mixed in, not a ton of it to where it doesn't need to be an academic class. I don't know about other people, but like I'll look at videos that people do, and when it comes to learning how to do stuff,
Hmm.
as far as how to draft a certain way or how to do this, it people don't really pay attention. But I'm still gonna do it though. Like I'm gonna do a breakdown, just all the old school knowledge that's out there that people probably don't pay much attention to. Like when you go back and read Mike Flores himself with as many articles as that guy has put out, like over the span of decades, it's just, man, there's so much knowledge.
See,
So much knowledge.
that was like when I excuse me, when I hold on, what do I want to do here?
You're gonna drag the game out and I'll just lose on time.
Oh, I didn't even I haven't paid attention to the time at all. Um, yeah, let's just do this. But anyway, like when it comes to the articles and stuff, that's like one part of the Magic culture like I've never like dived into that much. Like I've started reading a little bit more here recently, but I've always just been the like instead of like reading and learning about like the fundamentals, I just like always like to watch people play. Like I kind of miss
Right.
the big tournaments I used to do live. I used to like clear weekends, be like, "Oh, GP this weekend,"
Right.
and so I
Yeah.
kind of miss
We're just
that not being
watching
able
all
to.
of the Star City Games tournaments and stuff
Mm-hmm.
that used to stream. Like you would just watch, and you can learn that way too. I mean, everyone has a different way of kind of learning and picking things up. But I really liked the academic approach, like articles like the Philosophy of Fire,
Mm-hmm.
Fundamental Term, which we referenced before. Who's the Beatdown is a great article, and there's just so much great stuff. Minimum game threshold, grand unified theory. I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff, and that's even a more of a niche market, right? So let's go from Magic to Pauper to game theory of that kind of stuff. It's is what it is, but yeah,
So,
everyone's going to do what they want.
so what about Popper has kind of driven you into this format, especially for someone who's been playing this for so long?
Yeah. Well, for sure, because I'm not really committed to, hey, I want to play. My son and I are very much the same. And if we go to do something, then everything that we do, it's got to be 100%. Like you want to do everything, all formats, try to be the best that you can at it, and just it's just one of those things. It's with everything. So Pauper, the I like the fact that you're not looking at really abusive, broken strategies where you have turn one kills consistently. Like there are enough turns, regardless of what people think about Panza or Burn or whatever. There are answers, right? It's not
Mm-hmm.
hard if you're. It's not hard to even on the draw against Panza. It is not hard to go island untapped spell pierce. It's not difficult, right? Now you may not want to do that. You may those are cards I don't want to play and blah whatever. But there's plenty of answers to it. So you have enough. When I look at if I say that I enjoy in-game actions,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking to place. I'm not a combo player. I don't get off going, ooh, watch me do 28 interactions this turn. For if that's your thing, that's your thing. It's not my thing, right?
Yeah.
Like I just don't enjoy that. I did see a clip one time that said probably the most fair game of Magic is a Jund versus Jund mirror. And I'm like, yeah, probably so. It's just good cards. We're going to be taking turns, and in-game decisions matter on both sides. And it was real. It was. I think Pauper just there's enough turns per game that allow you to do things and interact with the opponent. It doesn't mean that you're going to be successful all the time at it, or maybe there's just bad matchups,
Yeah.
right? Like that happens. But at least let's see. I still have to try to win before the clock goes out. Let me look at my hand. Let's do that. So and you just I like it. I think it's the right power level
Hmm.
for things that I like to play, and not from this is fun for me. Because if I'm playing competitively, I don't give a shit what the meta is or what's going on. The rules are for you to play against. They don't adapt it to you,
Yeah.
right? So I don't think. Oh, bro, do I have 3 artifacts? Yeah, sure. Look at that cheesy shit. What? I should have kept it and just went for the to burn you. Like never burn their creatures, right? But yeah, I think it's the right power level, the right tempo. There's enough answers all around for most colors to be, and you can play. I think right now in the competitive meta, which I think is missing, is that hyper aggro, like stompy kind of thing. The meta
Hmm.
right now is so defined by card advantage. Like no matter what you're doing, it's every deck that's successful has card advantage, which is typically true historically speaking. But metas can slow down to a certain point where it's like you can go for card advantage all you want. My deck is so filled with threats that you don't have you can't have so much card. When you're drawing cards, you have to be drawing to something.
Hmm.
Right? You'll see decks that are just built where it's just I'm just drawing cards to do what? What are you trying to get to? Right? It has to have a
Right.
game plan. So you can just really dilute your deck, like I think Burn does on occasion, by playing so much 8 rec and things like that.
Hmm.
So yeah, I just like the power level. I think you can play combo if you want to play combo. Mid range is great in this format. Um, the only thing really missing is the kind of stompy thing, but I do think that decks like stompy have their moment if they're paying attention. If they're
Right.
paying attention, you can come in and get the right matchups and do very well, which I think Abroads did. Like I don't know what stompy does against walls, right?
Hmm.
Is that just auto scoop?
Kinda.
I don't
That's
know.
kind of
I
that's
mean,
kind
they
of
have
like
to block.
this deck is 100% just auto scoop to Poison Storm.
Great.
Like there's no way for Torture to beat Poison
Right, it's too
Storm.
long, right? So
Uh-huh.
they're the poison is what? Fundamental turn for them is 5,
I don't know.
right? I think they kill on 5.
Something like
Stop
that,
getting
yeah.
life, bro.
I'm trying, okay? We're trying to fight the good fight here.
I think you're
Uh,
gonna win. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. See if you didn't gain life, I win, right? I need a miracle. Oh man. There you go. Borosynth is too slow for tortured existence.
I don't know
Completely
about all
unplayable.
that.
Right? I like synth though. It's a good deck.
Synth is really good. The one that Bull had, the Naya Wonderbread, that just felt so strong. It really did.
Yeah.
It felt really
I had
strong.
been a fan of Carapace Forger. And like it's not played probably because it's the only green in the deck, right? Like,
Hmm.
why do I want to splash this color just for green? But you have kind of your mirror enforcer of your own,
Hmm.
so I think it's certainly playable. I like what he's got going on
Yeah,
with
I'm a
that.
big fan of it too. It's really cool. The Carpace Forger has just been. I think it was Darius had a Golgari affinity build that was like the first time I saw that card, and I was just like, this is sweet. And that was the thing. Like I've been playing Pauper for a little while, but it's been so cool to just see like the card pool. You know, the
The
card
whole
pool has been
audience is
insane.
probably going, "Why do you not crack your Relic of Progenitus?"
He's not
Because
having
I'm
mana,
talking to Mixlash. That's why. It's so crazy. Like when we're playing, like any noise at all, if I'm really focused on a match,
right?
there's no music. I can't have the dog snoring in the background. I don't want to hear my wife in the kitchen. Like it's pure full on concentration, let alone have a conversation about something. So, but I enjoy the conversation part. better
Good.
than the winning.
um,
I don't have no idea what's even in your graveyard.
Not a lot. I haven't been able to
No.
like dredge, like at all.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure my son's probably gonna watch this eventually and be like, dude, like, are you? No, I'm not paying attention. I'm talking, dude. But yeah, it's so funny because I do like very Ric Flair type stuff. Like I'll send him a text message or whatever and be like, the greatest Magic player of all time, watch this game. And he'll like, I'm never serious about it because the inside joke is like, I'm the greatest of the worst Magic players ever, right? I say like all the time. And but I'll still be like, yeah, woo, look at this, man. I just trashed this motherfucker. And it'll be like, ring, well, you did this wrong, that wrong, this wrong, you didn't do that. I mean, like he'll have it broken down in seconds, right?
letting you know
But
what's
yeah,
up.
he's the player. Like I used to sweat him at tournaments, and some of the lines of play that he would do, it's just he's just a natural at that, and I think some people are just. In fact, I remember David Williams talking about John Finkel, and he's like, and Kai Buddha, and I thought it was very interesting. He was like, I watched Kai play, and Kai was very good. Only check out this. This is so interesting because words mean things. Kai was only good because he dedicated himself so hard to playing perfectly.
Right.
I'm like, nothing wrong with that. Like, if you're going to dedicate yourself to something. And he said, I wasn't impressed. I'm like, what? How are you not impressed with that kind of dedication, right?
Right.
And then he was saying of John Finkel how impressed he was with Finkel because Finkel was just like a prodigy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just a prodigy. And I'm like, I get that, but I'm not, oops, triple menace. I'm not a prodigy. So I respect it all, but give me dedication and commitment over talent. Because usually you'll see talent squandered because it comes so easy. And that'll catch up with you in life eventually. Because at some point, if you're just relying on your natural talent, you're going to be facing people who are committed and dedicated. So if Kai is only good because he was so committed to the game, hats off to that because that's a lot. But my son is unbelievably talented in that regard, which I'm not. We just have a different skill set. So
So who do you think one of the best players is in Magic right now? In terms of like
right now
talent wise? Yeah.
on the Moto scene
Just in general.
or
Moto,
like in the I have
in the
no
paper.
idea. Like I know who I like to watch.
So who
That I
are some of
know.
the people you watch then outside of like me, I guess? Like and yourself.
No, I watch you every day though.
Yeah. We hang out though. And chat and everything.
Yeah, but I like to watch you a lot. I really like Snapbolt as far as his technical play.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, I was getting ready to crack Relic of
Oh, I didn't realize you were
Progenitus.
man.
I timed
Time on
out.
that. Yeah, I just I
I
just
think
realized that.
Snapbolt's technical play is really good. Of course, when he's playing a deck, he's kind of just playing. He's not like when you're a content creator like you are, or if I'm doing 2 decks a week, you're in and out of decks all the time,
Mm-hmm.
trying to find content, right? So if I'm playing Teasdale MTG's Jeskai Affinity, I might want to play that for months on end. I don't
Mm-hmm.
get bored, right? Like David Real was like, I get bored very easily. I don't. Like when you play as many hands of poker as I play, which is 4 million plus, the cards
Wow.
don't change. You just,
Yeah.
you
It's
just
the same
you're going to play
52.
the game or you're not going to play the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I'm cool with that. So I don't get bored very easily, but the yeah, I would say a Snapbolt, dude. Old Raging Bull just jumped into your match.
Oh, I gotta tell him. Sorry, buddy. Um
So I really enjoy watching Snap Bolt's technical play. Um, I think personally that Teasdale MTG is incredibly talented. I don't
He is
know.
awesome.
Damn, I thought I had a deck choice. I don't know how much like playtime he does, or how much testing or behind the scenes, but his lines of play and thought process is really strong from what I can see.
Hmm.
And I really like his commitment to the pauper community. Really, like I think he does all like the casting commons and the deck doctor thing that he's doing, and streaming the leagues and stuff like that. Like he's really just a great benefit to the community, and I think his play is really really good. Um, what other streamers? Non-pauper related, Bosch and Roll probably. Like I don't even play Legacy,
I don't either,
but
but I like to watch
I'm
it.
I don't miss I don't miss any of his shows. And it might be his tonal qualities because he has a certain cadence by the way he speaks,
Hmm.
and his knowledge is just ridiculous. So I like him a lot. So, but yeah, I mean, you do so much of your own content and trying to find different things and playing games when you can. I mean, there's something always running in the background, but I pay attention very much to Snapbolt when he's running in Teasdale, and he's there Krablinski. I like him too quite a bit.
Yeah,
I
Krabinsky.
really like his vocal delivery, and he's another very talented player. And then there's other players that they might be really good, but if I think they're a douchebag, I just don't watch and I don't pay any attention.
um, say Bosch. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Bosch too. No interest in playing Legacy, but find it very fascinating to watch for sure.
Yeah.
Um, trying to think what I'm doing
So
here.
yeah, you should attack first before you give away information like playing a land and flame breather.
Yeah.
I should attack first. Yeah. That's for the kids at home. Don't
um,
do what I do. Bruh, come on.
I can't.
Ban that card.
Nah,
That card's so broken.
nah.
It's unfair. It doesn't let me do what I want to
It's
do.
no, but it lets me do what I want to do. So I'm overriding you here. Um, yeah. So, do you ever feel like when you pick these other decks and stuff like that? Have you picked one yet that you felt was like just like underperformed, or like I don't know, like one that was like maybe I just not playing this right, or this just isn't for me kind of deck? Like, do you ever like would you ever feel bad? I guess of like I don't understand why this deck is running. I guess.
The Not really, not in the sense of like if it's not performing, I'm probably not covering it anyway
Mm-hmm.
because I don't, and the reason for that, I don't really want to waste anyone's time on a deck that let me do 25 minutes and then go, yeah, but by the way, I don't think this really functions that well or is positioned very well.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are some that are more difficult. Like, for example, when the Stompy video, it's an easier deck to play. You've lowered your decision tree per turn. So I think that's a good thing. Like for someone that's new to Magic or new to Pauper in general. Well, actually, I say probably new to Magic. You want to play something like Stompy that decreases the amount of decisions that you have to make per turn. Do it like, what are you doing? What are you playing? Let me read the card. Mothra's Great Cocoon. Whenever this creature make. Oh, is this the mutate deck?
Yeah.
That's
I
one that I thought was not going to be very good. When I saw the list, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a long show. And then, see if you left my flame breather alone,
I know.
then we'd be killing it right now. Yeah, I was like, oh, this deck is like, I really don't think on paper this is going to play out very well.
Yeah.
And it played out really, if I remember right, it did a lot better But
It
anyway,
wasn't
to
bad.
answer your
Yeah.
question, huh?
I said it wasn't bad for sure. Like it ran pretty decently, I feel like anyway.
Um, might as well. Let me read the cocoon again. That's really cool art, though.
Yeah, I know. That's what it was.
What the hell does
The
mutate even do? What does it do?
it stacks abilities.
You have to pay something for it? When this
It's
creature mutates, like what do you do to make it
so
mutate?
like if I have one of my mutate creatures and I target it, then that
Oh,
creature
okay.
gets it'll get a +1/+1 counter.
Okay, cool. Because I was reading the card and I didn't see anything that you had to do to mutate it. See? It's a
Yeah,
mechanic I'm not that familiar. I know of it,
I'm
but
not
I've
a
never played it, never played against it.
yeah, I'm not like super duper familiar with it either. Maybe I should have blocked one of them.
So, but yeah, I don't want to like do a deck tech or a deck. I mean, it is possible that I could do one where if I saw it performing very well, it is possible I would do something and say, if the meta switches this direction, then something like that, right? But I don't want to. I want the viewer to be able to look at a deck and say, maybe this is one because they're all different styles. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a Sultai control deck that's coming, and Stompy's easier, and Sultai takes a little more getting used to, and you really have to understand what you're playing against because what am I going to approach as a threat? What am I going to evaluate or prioritize as a threat? Which is what control decks will do. And if you're not familiar with what other people are playing, maybe you get that messed up, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So the I've not done one where I felt like look, let's do this. We'll take Teasdale MTG's Jeskai deck. It's a great deck.
Mm-hmm.
However, if I mean, how big is he? 3-4. If the meta switched to where I ran into, I went like on a long run with that deck where everybody I was facing was packing so much artifact hate that was just blowing the mana base up. I'm winning game 1 and getting crushed game 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Right? But it's just variance in the sense that it doesn't mean the deck is bad. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It just means that
Oh
you hit
shoot!
us
I
a
meant to
run of
block
it.
there.
That's good. I meant to crack Relic of Progenitus. Those deck is it's really good, but you can grab Jeskai and go into the field
Oh.
and just unfortunately get struck with a whole bunch of sideboard hate and just get destroyed. Like, and it was, I hit like 3 or 4 matches in a row because the mana base in his deck is bridges and non-bridges, and it was 3 or 4, maybe even 5 matches in a row where I don't even think I drew a bridge in game 2 or 3 post board, and everybody was running Gorilla Shaman, and I was just by turn 2 I'm just wrecked mana base. It was just I was getting destroyed.
You hear something interesting I just now learned? If you
What's
mutate
that?
off the Sacred Cat token, you don't get lifelink. So
Yeah.
that's worth noting, I guess, that you don't get lifelink off the token for whatever reason. So that was kind of like my big brain idea was to try to get lifelink off of it, but apparently a no.
I don't even know how your deck truly functions, but I know how mine functions. I know if that's the case, I have a simple game plan. Kill you quickly.
Yep. Well, that was like
That's
the
it.
thing. It's like I thought the way it works is you get the life. I don't know, like, because you're supposed to, when you get mutate, you're supposed to get all the abilities underneath it too. But
It
apparently
seems
it didn't get
cool.
it.
I would have to look into it and see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean it's just I think there's a lot of decks that are like it's not unusual. If you pull up the tournament listings, I mean there's plenty of decks that really good archetype decks. It doesn't mean if you play Borosynth or UB Terror or whatever, just because you have the deck, I'm guaranteed. I mean, I think some people take this approach. Somehow or another, I'm guaranteed to top 8 or whatever, just because I have the card.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm playing that deck, right? Bro, I've had tier 1 decks that just, when I'm really concentrating on what's going on, and just go on a run in to save my life. It's either for a variety of different reasons. I mean, I'm sure I play bad, of course, in some of them, but just for whatever reason, the matchups are horrible. One of the matchups I hate as a burn player is Bogles or Mono White Heroic, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've got no outs. There's no sacrifice things. They play the Mono White Heroic plays the 0-4 creature, which they guaranteed to have in the opening hand every single time, and it's just over for me.
So that's like one of the first decks I ever played in Pauper, and I've always
Mono
liked
White
it.
Heroic.
But yeah, I've always liked it, but it's also it just feels like a not a good version as not as good of a
Yeah,
version as as Boggles, the
yeah.
Boguses.
I think it's certainly a worse Bogles version. But again, if someone's new to the game and I want to hand them a deck, hang on, sorry. So if someone's getting into the game for the first time, like I'm not handing them fairies.
Mm-hmm.
There's way too much nuance and subtlety and combat trick and different things like that. You want them to have some chance of success, right? So that's why I would hand them something that just decreases the decision making process. So let me you next leveled me, right? So we finished the game, and then you bring in, I'm bringing in Burn for the next match, so we bring in a cat.
Oh,
Is that
there's
what it
yeah.
is?
Always fight it with fire. I actually thought about grabbing because I've not played it in a while, and I played it in paper last night. It's a deck called Soul Lesson, and what it is it's basically Soul Sisters. Um,
Right, right. That was what I was going to ask. Yeah.
but yeah, I was like, I'm gonna play this. This seems fun. So result will be the creature on top of the abilities of each underneath it. Okay. So goes over, lifelink and embalm. Okay, so it doesn't do it off the token. So worth noting for anybody who wants to play this strategy.
So you go 3-4. All right. If I kill this thing, this mutated migratory great horn, does anything else, like I kill the cat in it, or what, does the cat come back or
I'm
some
not
weird
sure,
thing?
to be 100% honest
Okay,
with you.
well, let's just find out real quick.
I know with persist or undying, they both come
Oh, no,
back onto the field, but
wait. The undying. But this mutated thing, because I'm like blowing bolts on your creature. This is we're being scientists.
yeah, we're Bill Nyeing the science guy in here. Let's find out what happens. Oh, this is my ruse the whole time to make you waste 2 of your burn spells. All right, so it just
Bro,
dies.
I would, if it came back and did something, I would have cracked up.
That would have been funny. I know with Undying, they both come back to the field.
Yeah, I figured that one for sure. This Darius build, right? High IQ.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
he is outthought in the situation.
This one's Darius.
I can hear the rules Nazis now, like the high IQ guys. How do you not know how mutate works? Bro, like,
how
what,
do
you have
you
another
know
one in
how
the hand?
mutate works? You know,
You had another one in your hand?
I did, and I think
So everything I just did is like deja vu.
no, I screwed that up. That was not supposed to. I was supposed to put that over, not under. I clicked the wrong thing.
Okay.
It's a weird
That
mechanic.
makes
It's a weird mechanic.
a little more sense to me.
It's a weird
So,
mechanic.
and it's what else is weird too when you make content and you're doing stuff is I'm so used to having my screen displayed. I think everyone sees what's in my hand,
Right.
and they don't.
Um, but yeah, I like this mutate idea. I think the last one I played on stream was actually the persist version, and this is the undying version. But it's pretty cool regardless. I like it regardless anyway. Um, So I'm gonna try. Well, I don't know. I'm not gonna. Why am I telling you? We're playing. That's what
Right?
I'm gonna do. So when it comes to your
You
magic, what?
no, go right
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. When it comes to your like magic content, you're reviewing these decks and stuff. How
Mm.
I know from like the Discord you're getting in several games. Like how many games are you getting in before you feel confident to make a video on it?
It depends on I I don't even mind doing content if it shows the deck losing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, I'm cool with that too, as long as if it loses, it shows the deck's vulnerability, like its innate vulnerability. I don't want to do a like, oh, I got screwed on mana. How'd that happen, dude? Like, what the is
Yeah,
going
yeah.
on?
Okay, so that worked like I
Where
thought it
did that
would.
come from?
That worked
Does it
like I
have
thought it
life
would.
link?
No,
That's
it
all
does
I
not.
want to know. It does not.
No.
It can survive then. Dang.
Okay, so that
Um.
worked like I thought it was supposed to.
So you stuck it underneath on purpose,
Sure.
bro. This is so bad.
That
Um. Not you. It's so bad that I don't see like any of this stuff going on. I'm like, I don't know where they came from, and like, it just is what it is, right?
right.
I'm like, I don't know where did that come from. It was over here, and now it's over there, and that's it. That's high as and you got 3 card in hand. Oh, you play conviction.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought you were like shuffling weird, like drawing 3 cards off preordain on me or something.
Right. Just scooping a couple cards in my hand. I'm holding some cards
Yeah.
up my sleeve here and transporting it
So,
into the
but
computer.
sometimes like you'll do to answer your question, it's like depending on the deck itself,
Hmm.
it might be just one match. It's rare. That happened in the Stompy video. Literally, it was just one match. Okay, ran the second match, had 2 matches for content right out of the gate, which I'm always happy about because then I can get to editing and recording and doing whatever it is that. Oh, bro, I brought the wrong burn deck.
Good.
I brought the one I don't like,
The 8 rack.
which is fine. Um, no, it runs. It's too heavy on 2 drops. Paulo Cabral runs it. He went 5-0 with it, but it runs way, in my opinion, way too many 2 drops. And I was like, as soon as I saw Thermo Alchemist, I'm like, what deck did I load?
I know
But
we've talked in the Discord about like video editing and stuff.
mhm.
But what's your timeline look on making a video? Like how much time is like going into that content creation of that?
Much faster now than it used to be,
Yeah,
for
that's
sure.
good. That's the way it should go. For
Because
sure.
when you don't even know, like I'm still learning stuff, right? Like
Hmm.
it's the way I don't have no education or background in video or audio or anything. So it's like, okay, what's this do? Press the button. Wow, check that shit out.
Hmm.
That's kind of neat. And then sometimes you press the button, you're like, where to go? Like, why is my video cut in 3, 4 pieces or whatever? But that's why you have the undo button. So it takes making a thumbnail. Now that there's a one that I like, that only takes like 2 minutes. And then commentary could be 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And then gameplay. So I would say from start to finish, not the upload time because you're not really watching that. Start
Yeah.
to finish is probably an hour and a half on editing, and probably too often there might be 5 to 8 hours of playtime to find content worth showing.
Hmm.
Like I get super happy when you just get a really good match. My wife will come out and be like, "Shh, wait, I've got content right there. Hold on. Like, I don't want to mess this up." So, because it's not about me. That's the thing, right? It's not about my play. I suck at playing. That's just the way that it is. But I'm looking to showcase what the deck does.
Hmm.
And also what it's vulnerable to. So if I'm in that moment, like I don't want to punt so badly that it's really, that it was on me, not the deck kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
which, it typically is. Now you'll mutate this cat or some shit, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to kill your creature, bro. But I don't want to be fighting lifelink and stuff. I'm just killing it. I'm killing it because it's annoying and red doesn't like lifelink stuff. So,
That is true.
although I'm not a big fan of lifelink in general, I think it's a terribly overemphasized thing. Your life's a resource philosophy of fire is necessary at times when the meta goes a certain way, but to building decks around it, like, I get it. It's like, oh, well, if I start the game with 40 life or 50 life instead of 20, nah. Don't want to be in those. Against red is kind of important, right?
Right.
Just gaining, back in the old traditional burn days, just gaining, because did you renew your MTG premium subscription
I had
to be
to.
dropping cats on
I've
my
been drawing
ass
too
every
poorly.
time
I've
I
had to
turn
do it.
around?
I finally had to do it. I've been drawing too poorly on stream. I was like, all right, I get it. I got to get my Magic Online Plus up and running again.
And you
Uh,
probably, like, you have 3 cards in hand, and then I'm going to talk for about 5 minutes. I'll look up. You'll have 7 cards. Your board presence will be 6 wide. I don't even know what happened.
I'd be okay. I'd be okay with that. Feels good to me.
I
Um,
know. So yeah, it's
yeah,
really
that'd be okay.
probably more playtime
Mm-hmm.
and just really trying to capture what the deck does and not being necessarily satisfied. Like, I might have a match, and sometimes I'll record 4, 5, 6 matches, and then you'll get a nice run where every match that came later was better than the match you had before. So the content is going, but you really don't have much time. I mean, there's things you have to do in life and obligations
Right.
and different things like that. So for people that can put out content consistently, like yourself, just about every day, minus the weekend or multiple times a week. I mean, that's what a benefit, man. But back in '97, like, this just did not occur. Like, you didn't
Yeah.
have YouTube and you could watch and learn and all this stuff was going on, and like, that just didn't happen. You read articles, you might catch a video on a website, but like, what's YouTube?
Right.
Like, no one knows,
Do you think YouTube's been a pretty
So
good boon for the game in terms of like viability?
yeah, I think it's good and bad. Yeah, that's a nice rip off Reckless. Um, I think it's bad
Don't you want to sacrifice
in
your
the sense.
mountains?
I'm sorry.
I said, don't you want to sacrifice your mountains? The fire
Maybe
blast, that's a
next
lot of
turn.
damage.
Next turn. The I think it's bad in the sense when I think overall it's positive. It is bad in the sense when content creators will deceive
Mm-hmm.
in a certain way just for content. That's when it's not so good because people will spend money or they'll take time as a currency you can only spend once.
Right.
So if the content creator is putting out content, no one in particular, just in general, but if they're putting out content and somebody's buying cards or doing I did that. I saw a deck that someone ran once, and I'm like, wow, that seems pretty cool. On paper, it didn't look like it would be that good, but it wasn't, right? It looked good on the video, and then you're just getting smoked. And it's like, oh, okay. But you got to understand the pressure that they're under,
Yeah.
right? Like, you're constantly having to come out with something new, and that's the bad side. I got to have something new. It's got to be a different thing. But when you don't care, then it's like, I'm just going to do what I do
I
at the
said,
end of the day.
for me, I just like playing the brews and stuff that people are
Yeah.
suggesting. Playing things that is more off the beaten path because it's for one, it's more fun for me. I'm playing like a mechanic mutate. I'm playing cards that nobody's playing very often, so it's more fun for me. But I could just do months of just 8 rack dredge and Tortured Existence and Mono Black Control and Monster
Right.
Tron. You know, I could just literally just
I
play
found
those
you off
forever.
Tor. Yeah, I found your channel off Torex
Hmm.
because I just like it. I'm not saying again. It's not like, hey, I love this for competition. I just love it for its flavor.
Right.
Like I really enjoy it. It's like perfect flavor, right?
Right. It's like,
And but yeah, no matter what, I can't make it work. Like I can't get it. It is what it is. It's consistently its thing. And as much as I try, bro, as much as I try. Oh, look at me, like not using Thermal Alchemist to get the extra damage in.
say,
Um, but I was like looking up other YouTube videos on Torex and found your channel, and then you find primers on it, and there is a dedicated community that is for it. And one day, I mean, I think David did a video on it with it 5-0'd some league, right?
yeah,
If I
it does.
remember
It
correctly.
does every once in a while pop back up, but it's like I said, when I was talking to Teasdale, I was like, there's just too much right now of the meta that is really good against the deck,
Yeah,
and there's a lot like it's not like the decks that it's good against aren't really being played very much, so it's not suited right now in the meta very well. And then on top of that is some of the decks that are good in the meta are causing people to play cards that are very good against Tortured Existence that normally is like sideboarded, you know, the Graveyard Hate, the Dawnbringer Cleric, stuff like that. So
yeah.
it's definitely
I do think Golgari Graves tries to achieve what Torex was doing. It
mm-hmm,
just does it with like it has that same kind of dredge graveyard type feel to it. I think it probably does it smoother. But and then too, if you're like not in a league with it, and you're just trying, even if you're in the tournament practice room, just trying to get games, like you can still go in the TP room, bro.
it's not a whole lot, but
But still, um, it's fucking all the. I love that card. Just not right now,
I'm fighting the good fight here. I'm trying to.
right? Dude, I
Um,
just like need a land or something. This game should have been over a long time ago.
that's what I feel like too. I feel
I
like
almost dropped that fire blast on you. I'd have got you to 1 and could have pinged. But I didn't. Oh look. That's nice. You know. The but yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm just a fan of the flavor and the design. But when you go into the TP room and you're Torexing, yeah, they're quitting the fucking match. Like, as soon as they see it and you just do a couple activations or brown scale,
hmm.
they're like, "Yeah, I'm out. I'm done. I don't want to play this anymore." And I don't do that though, right? If I'm trying to if I join a match, I'm not quitting the match for any reason.
Hmm.
Um, you can play what you want. I'm not gonna. I may not have fun. I may not like it. Even if I'm looking for content, I'm like, well, just the way luck has it, right? I
Right.
ended up having to play against this.
Don't end my festivities, please.
No, I didn't bring them in. I took
um,
them out. I took 2 main.
so like with YouTube and stuff,
However,
yeah.
this works. I can do this. I got that. Does that work?
Yeah, Lava Dart's pretty good.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's really good. Um, well, with like YouTube and stuff, like with making the videos and stuff, what's kind of like your goal with it then? Like, are you just
Just
making like
yeah.
entertaining?
Um, I mean, sometimes it's entertaining because I'll say things that probably would be better said a different way. But again, I'm just me, right? Like
Yeah,
it's I can never not be me. I try, bro. Like there's a lot of things about me that I wish were a little different. Is it still a? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Um, and it's just, I put out the content. I really enjoy, to be honest with you. I really just enjoy I can't draw or paint or anything like that. I'm good. I'm a very good writer, music, things like that. But I can't. I just would love to be able to do painting or drawing. And I think just being able to start doing video editing gives me that creative outlet in a world that I'm not good at.
Mm-hmm.
And it lets me, like, there's a lot of things that I see and I can't put this to color. And then in video editing, you can. So it's a nice creative outlet. So if people learn from it, great. I'm not going to pander to the audience. Sorry if there are any fans out there. I'm just going to do deck reviews, try to add as much content that I think is beneficial. And if it works, great. But again, it's not really to get engagement or view counts. I just enjoy it, and it seems that other people like it too. So
It's great
that's
content.
that's what I'm going to do. I really don't want to play around with things that aren't me, right? Like there's not going to be a video on watch this masterful gameplay. That's not coming no time soon. If that ever does occur, then everybody gets to go, wow, like tune in. He must have really did it. But it's not coming, as you can see. I'm so like not. I'm enjoying the conversation with you more than the game. Right?
Yeah.
I love to play Magic, but I'm like, I just love conversation. I love the game too, and I am losing fair and square.
So a question
And I
I
am trying
have
to get there.
here
Yeah, go ahead.
is Searing Blaze one of those ones that if you get rid of the creature, it blinks it? Or is it still doing 3 damage?
It should.
Deals 3 damage to that player or planeswalker.
Because it doesn't have a target.
Okay, and to that creature. Okay, so.
So it should fizzle, so to speak. Come on, you gonna play Ephemerate? Come on. You sold your soul to the dark side. Blink.
No. I'm trying to think here. Yeah, I can't. I gotta do this. I don't think
Was that out of your hand, dude?
Yeah.
I was looking over in the corner over there, and
I'll say I don't think there's any way I survive this with the double lava dart. I tried though. But I think the double lava dart's got it.
I am not even trying to kill your creature.
Yeah.
I should get it on the next turn for what I've got in hand, which is so weird because no one sees it. When you're so used to recording your screen, like if we were to flip the interview process, you're like, they do see what's in my hand. No, they don't see it. King.
Yeah.
Let's do
Okay,
that.
I'm dead now. Then to lava dart. Flash target me. 1, 2. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I hit F6 or 6. I passed. I was ending it with lava dart, but eventually somebody's gonna have to interview you.
Nah, I'm not that interesting.
Neither am I.
Yeah, but you make cool content. Have you ever thought with like
Well,
the
you
style
do
of
too,
content? Yeah, I mean, with the style of content and stuff you make, have you ever
Oh,
thought
hold
about
up,
doing
bro.
what?
Did you hit Gnaw the Bone again?
Yeah.
Out of your hand?
No, out of the grave.
All right.
Um, with like your content stuff, have you ever thought about like writing articles, like doing any kind of article work?
Oh, I used to, man.
Did you?
Yeah, it was probably 11 or 12 years ago. I don't even remember the site anymore. That's what happens when you get old, you know? I'm so bad with names, like, the card that does whatever.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I used to write articles. I don't know if that content in and of itself is if there's a market. I mean, people write articles for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I just keep thinking that with video content and production, is that just better than art? I mean, the written word. I don't know. Like, I'm a written word person myself. At the end of the day, like, it's so much better for me.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's two different audiences that
Maybe
I think it's two different
I have to ask
audiences that
Easdale on that. He writes articles.
yeah. Well, David's doing his newsletter too, you
That's
know.
true. That's true. I was
Um
thinking more like website stuff.
yeah. I think it really depends. I think there's two different things cuz like one it's nice to see the video, watch people play and stuff, but then there's almost like a different oh, here's this article and there's like I don't know how to explain it, but there's like a different connection to the article that just makes it easier. I in a way I don't know if easier is the right word. Maybe like less time commitment. I don't
Did I
know.
win the
It's
match?
just yeah, you got it.
Was I won the match? Huh?
Yeah, you got that one.
I was getting ready to go to game three. I was like, "Oh, I won! Oh, wow!" That's how much attention I'm like doing because I'm just talking and listening. It is
Right.
hard, man. Like when I did
Yeah,
the
what
first
happened here?
stream, and you're like looking at people on the sideboard, and you're when I was doing my own, which when the audio still sucks shit, and people are like talking and stuff. I can't do that, bro. Like I can do it, but I suck at it.
Somehow
I got to be full
buddy's
on
only
total
got turned off.
concentration. I don't read with music on,
Right.
right? Like some people can, they'll study and there's music. No, no, and yeah, it's really cool. It's another ability that I just don't have. I certainly don't want to play something I'm gonna go to this.
Um is that the whole
Oh wait,
like
wait, I forgot to change the deck. Sorry.
all right, you want to back out then or just run it?
No, I'm not in the room, am I?
Yeah.
I thought I exited the room.
No.
Yeah, let's exit because it's just burning
All right.
in. I didn't change the deck. I thought I did, but
No worries. Yeah, that's playing and stuff. I definitely hit a lot of punts because I'm like focusing more on chat and I prioritize chat and stuff in my streams
Mm.
over actual gameplay because for me I think it's more entertaining conversing than it necessarily is playing the game. But
when you get
this
yeah,
hand.
like for sure. The I don't know. I like seeing you do it and seeing other streamers do it and have a chat session and going back and forth and talking and doing it. I
Reluctantly
I can't
pieces.
play like as you can see on this stream or on this thing. My play is all I'm behind. I'm the burn player and behind 7 minutes. Like
It's
you're
all
just
good.
I don't know. Other people can do it. I much prefer the pre-recorded for if I'm doing it, I
Hmm.
can focus in. I still make all the mistakes, but the yeah, it's funny, bro.
When you do your games, are you doing live commentary or are you doing like playback on the
No,
game?
I do. I pull up the game history, and then I don't script it. I tried a few where I scripted the commentary and stuff.
Hmm.
I didn't like it, so I just went to off cuff. Here we go.
Right.
Let's go, and it's just seems to work all right for me that way. I like it. I think it's when if I'm how do I put it because it's so unusual. I got to be serious to a point in the production. My mind is very obsessive, so I get if I'm going all, I have to know where my limit is. Like, don't go past this limit,
Mm-hmm.
right? So because if I do, it's very difficult for me to turn around. Eventually, I can. So the way my brain operates, is if my brain registers something as enjoyable, good, um, it just if it's like, how do I put it? If one is good, then 100 of it must be
Great.
that much better, right? So I'm very limited. So I can't, if I went in and said I'm going to approach video editing with 100% professionalism, I will probably be doing it 16 to 18 hours a day. Like, you're just totally wrapped up in it. So I have to go, okay, I gotta approach it with cause I know how I operate. So over the decades, just kind of learning to say, okay, look, if I'm doing something for competition, like, I don't want to view myself as a person that creates content as a
Mm-hmm.
competitor to other content creators. Because if my mind interprets it that way, then it's just full on war, and I don't want that to
I don't think
happen.
it's good
You know?
to consider. I think that it's good to consider it competition in the way of not necessarily these are my competitors, but like, oh, these are what other people are doing, and how can I make myself better by, what are these people doing right? I think if you're like, I think as a community and especially when it comes to like content creation, I think it's more beneficial, more helpful to try to make the community to kind of like strive to not consider us like a competitors, but as like co-workers, I guess, in a way. You want to like
Yeah,
work with everybody and like learn things and like figure out like how you're gonna like learn from each other in a way. And I think if
mhm.
you have that mindset of it being a competitive blood sport,
Yeah,
it's not healthy.
it's not cool, but and that's why I'll never do it for money.
Yeah.
Because I really feel like if you inject, for me, again, nothing wrong with doing it for money. I'm not doing it for money. I'm not going to, like, my channel, as much as I can say never. I'm not going to do custom brews
Hmm.
ever. Why? Because McSlash, my friend, does it.
Why?
Like,
Yeah, I mean, you can do custom brews.
that's his thing, right? Like, I'm not drawing attention, or have no intention to draw people away from that kind of content. That's what my friend does. That's not what I'm going to do.
Hmm.
And there has to be integrity in that regard. So, not like, if you were a competitive streamer, I would have a different thing if that's what I was doing too. I mean, people do it. There's nothing wrong with doing it. It's just I don't know. I have to take it with a certain level of seriousness. I have to always keep my priorities in order. There's a lifetime of, like, messing things up, right? I
Hmm.
have to keep them in order. The job is more important. Your family is more important. Content creation can be important, but when I commit myself to it, let's see, what you I think I don't want to exile anything. I don't mind putting them in the graveyard. I have to be really careful. So it's a certain level of professionalism that it needs to have for me.
Hmm.
Oh,
This is the remove creature dot deck. This is that mono black paper cut, the ill-gotten inheritance.
who built this?
Uh, Petsuman. Petsuman. I believe that was who I got the list from.
Gotcha.
I'd have to check Moxfield because I try to credit
Yeah,
anybody who submits a deck. I try to credit properly who submitted it.
100%. 100%.
No.
Yes.
Which one are you hitting? That's the question.
My triggers on my screen. Place triggers on the stack. I did that one,
Ah,
and then, yeah, I figure that's your win con probably.
it's one of them.
Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. Damn, actually, all my creatures. Oh, there's one. Get rid of that one. Um, always give credit where credit's due. I
Yeah,
did pick the creature, bro.
it's telling you didn't. It's fighting you here.
I mean, it's so funny. This is way back in the day, and I got. This is so funny. If you knew my son, you would find it even funnier. We were at a tournament, a Star City Games tournament, and I ended up getting paired with someone that, if I hadn't known any better, I would have thought he was out of the WWE. Like, no joke, bro. Like, he sits down at the table. I'm like, I've not faced a person. Let me read this.
It's like Journey Nowhere but black.
Okay. The it was, I had never faced this kind of character before at a table with this much in your face bravado. It really caught me off guard, right? So like, it was so bad in this tournament. I'm not going to go into a ton of details about it. One day I'll tell you the story. But it's so bad. Some highlights of this particular match was him slamming my cards down, which spilled out all over the table.
Ooh.
Screwed up board states, excessive. Like, I curse, but I don't curse at someone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not calling you a bunch of stuff. And I really should have called a judge, but I was like, nah, I'm not doing it for whatever reason. And he had me on such tilt, which I'm going to own that decision, because if I lose emotional control, if I lose whatever you own all your decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So I made a decision to let that get to me. And because of that, I played terribly and lost the match. And I was up, I think I was 4-1 maybe at the time. In that, so I was doing well, and now I'm 4-2. And my son was sweating me on that one. And as soon as the match ended, like, literally, I just chose not to block because I thought he had no way to win. And he wins the match. Like, there's no reason not to block to block.
Right.
And I lose the match, and I don't know what shade of gray I turned, but my son is like, get up. He's just like, hey, get up. Get up right now. Get away from the table. I'll get the stuff. Get out of here. So I go outside, and then he goes, this is after the match, right? He let me tilt for a couple minutes and vent. He got to watch the majority of it. And he goes, why do you think you're like the high priest of magic or whatever? Who cares if the guy doesn't have integrity or what his attitude is? What does that got to do with you? And I'm like, yeah,
Fair.
you're exactly right. Actually, absolutely right. I mean, you could have called a judge and did this and did that, but no, I was like, no, let's do this. And it was really stupid. The right thing to do, to be honest with you, was to probably call a judge, because that behavior with somebody else, like, you just don't want that kind of stuff to continue.
Right.
For the enjoyment of the game.
I've never ran into like
For other people.
anything like
You done?
that before.
Are you done now?
Maybe.
You have any more of this that you would like to cast upon?
Hey, I'm trying to find my Crip Rats, okay?
No, dude. I feel like I'm being tortured. This is tortured existence. Let me see. Do I have any other zombies? Yeah, that's a zombie.
It's back again. Cycle.
I was gonna say, well, you could draw a land, but you did.
All right, I think I'm starting to fizzle out now.
I hope so.
Still need that fabled Crip Rats here. I've never ran into anything like that in particular. Ooh,
right?
Hold on, turn off audio. When it comes to like playing and stuff, but I mean, you definitely run into people who are somewhat aggro. Like this game depends, what their life's gonna turn out to be.
Yeah.
and it's kind of
I
weird,
mean, it
but
certainly was a strategy because I saw him kind of do the same thing again
mhm.
later at a different tournament. I'm like, holy crap! I crossed paths with this fool twice in life. I didn't play him twice, um, but you really you don't want to do something in the game. There's one thing about being your authentic self. I get it, and yes, you are responsible for your own emotions and your decisions and all that shit. I get it, but that's not. Even if you're not trying to be an ambassador for the game, there's a certain amount of etiquette that's needed, and this is like it is the only time I've played against a lot of different personalities. That was the one and only time where I was like, I don't even know. As soon as you sat down at the table, I just looked up like, is this real life? Is this can't be real life? Like, or do you what was his name? Uh, God, Randy Savage.
Macho Man.
I mean, yeah, dude, like decked out with all of this stuff. I'm like, this can't be real. This can't be real, but it was. And but I have to own that. Like I'm a proponent of doing that kind of thing. My son was absolutely correct. You're not the high priest of magic. People, there are plenty of people that do things that aren't good for the game.
True.
But you own your response to it. So I don't even know how you're winning. We're just on. What did am I bringing in? Let's do that.
That's what I'm
So
like
yeah,
trying to
it's just
find where to trim.
once you for me, which was a long time ago. Once I understood that I'm nowhere even. I certainly played better than I'm playing this evening, but even in my highest concentrated state, there are so many people that are better than I am for a variety of reasons. But from meta-analysis and deck analysis and card modifications and things like that, I think that's where my skill set's better suited.
Hmm.
So if I bring that to, if somebody can take something out of it, or maybe they see a deck for the first time in a spotlight, and they're like, hey, this is, I'm going to run with this deck, and they use their own skill to it. I'm like minimum game threshold as a thing where, what is what mana level does the deck operate on efficiently? Different things like that, fundamental turns, just stuff like that. I think is good. Or optimal hands, or the difference between strategy and game plan. Like you just don't go, I hope to see creatures and spells and lands in my hand. Like that's not a decision to mulligan. There's got to be more to it than that. And like, if you had to script out what your opening 7 would be over does your hand resemble that? And so there's the optimal hand, right? You have to know what the deck does by design and what it's trying to do. And there's going to be a mixture of lands and spells in your hand, but that doesn't mean that you keep the hand. I've hit OK 4 times.
With Magic and stuff, what's your favorite time period of Magic? Like your what like for me, I was big into the pretty much the block that was oh shoot, now I can't even think of what it's called. Eldritch Moon and um the Eldritch Moon up to like Amonkhet era was like my like prime-ish for Magic.
Yeah.
So like for you, like what's your kind of like high point with Magic?
The
Like
one, yeah, the ones I had. Let me read this card. The beginning of your hands. Okay, yeah. My favorite was, and I get so lost on time now after all these years. Like I forget when they overlap and what sets were standard and in play at the same time. So really enjoyed Shards of Alara. I loved Jund Standard. That was plenty of fun. Really enjoyed Zendikar. Really liked drafting Rise of Eldrazi. That was super fun. And then there's a big gap later. Like all of this newer stuff is just quite different. But I don't really play Standard anymore. So like, who would have thought throughout your history of playing Magic that when sets come out, You only look at the commons.
Right.
Like, you would never do that in the past. You'd be like, nah, like, I don't care about that. And I feel like you have every card in your hand is a removal card. That is what I think you are doing. Like a whole bunch of them, and that's gonna make me sad. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed. I didn't even mind. I liked Lorwyn block, like just having the tribal fairies, elves, goblins kind of thing.
Right.
And your favorite one was which?
I like the like pretty much from like I don't know. I guess you could probably say Dragon's Cartier, but like Shadows over Innistrad, Eldritch Moon up to like the Amonkhet block. That was
I
when I
think
was playing standard real heavy and was
don't they
really
did
into
they
it.
say Innistrad was? There's some stuff out there that Innistrad was the best flavored block. Is that correct?
I don't know.
Like from a design perspective, that Innistrad was. I didn't like drafting it for whatever reason, but memory begins to fade over time. Like I just forget how many years it was. Like if you asked me what was out in 1997, I don't remember. Something. Whatever was packaged up at the time. Other people have like this immense recollection of magic sets and time, and it just I don't like. I'm more macro
Right.
oriented.
I screwed that up. I didn't. So I tapped wrong for
Why didn't you just
mana
rat?
because I didn't. I tapped wrong for
Why?
mana. I had a desert left up when I was doing the rat, so I didn't have the correct mana for it.
Oh,
And then I was going to use desert to kill Eerie Soul Tender just because I could, and then didn't have a
because you
set
could.
stop, and so it just went right past the end step. So I was like, "Whoops." um, but I'm going to rat now.
I haven't. It's been. I haven't played much in paper in a long time. Like it's been so long. But how much is rat for what? Zero?
X2.
One? Two?
Yeah. Uh, Risky, but I need to draw some stuff.
Bolt,
Right.
fire blast.
um, do you think you ever like play anything outside of Popper? Like, do you have any like plans to play stuff outside of Popper for your channel, or are you just all in on Popper?
Not for the channel. Like, I feel that the something on the screen blinking at me. The amount of effort it would take for me to get caught back up in modern legacy. To there, I think there's plenty of people out there that do such a good job already.
Mm-hmm.
That I would take away from. I wouldn't be adding any value in that regard. Um, it's probably just going to remain pauper. Mainly for time. Things take a lot of time, and I just probably don't want to. I feel like this is probably a mistake. I'm just very careful on how much time and effort that I'm going to put in, and I think learning, getting caught up to speed on all of these different formats would be very time consuming. And there's people that are so great at it now anyway. And I do find it interesting that it does mess with your algorithm. Like people that watch pauper content probably, I'm not sure how multi-format people are as a
I don't
whole. It'd
know.
be interesting to see what the poll is. Go ahead and empty your hand now.
I'm trying to. Trying
The
here.
only reason you didn't is because you're out of mana, so you got another unmake in your hand.
I don't know. I don't know about that. The problem
I think it's
is
very unfortunate.
I don't have any of my win cons, which are just the enchantments. There's like no other creatures
This is how
other
my son
cripples.
played when we used to play like every here, there's another target for you. Go ahead. Have at it. That's how myself when we play at the table. It's like, go ahead, punk. Yeah, wait, whatever. It's so funny, but it's all in fun though. It's just how like we talk. But I haven't seen him in a couple years. He's outside the country, so next year I get to see him for the first time in 2 or 3.
I don't think I want to put that Crypt Rats back on top. Which is weird to say.
Sure. It's like the one time that I really wished that I played Priest on the Haunted Edge earlier, because I think you probably just want to see. Well, that's just 4 though if you block with the rat. So I thought you had more black mana up, but you
Do not.
don't. Unmake, haha, take that. You thought I needed the rat, but I didn't.
This has been a weird game to like traverse through. That's for sure.
Because of the archetypes on both sides.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep. What's this? Another Gerdaddy.
That's all I got. But yeah, I'm certainly I'm not a brewer, like from a bruh,
I
like
kept the
for real.
triple Crypt Rat saying.
Triple Crip Rat. That's one of my wife's favorite cards.
I was a
Dire Rat Death.
big fan of it too.
Yeah. Sure.
I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it doesn't matter if you top deck one of your big things. I was like, should I pop this now? But I think I should probably just try to draw off of it. Unless you get a crawl or something.
Right. Right. Of course. Of course. I should probably just held it and whatever, but it doesn't matter. Like I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Like the two things everyone needs. You got yours, like you got mine. So so
uh,
funny.
all right. Now I
All
just
right, you
gotta
get your
draw
wing
some of
on,
my. Nope. I just gotta
bruh.
find it at some point.
I just drew the only other crawl from the cellar, back to back. It's the crawl from the cellar bug.
This is gonna be a while. Oh, I should just be gaining life, shouldn't I, with talisman? I guess that's a thing
Yeah,
I
for
can do.
sure. Yeah, it's good when you have Relic of Progenitus to actually use that too.
Right?
I just put it in the play and just left it there for how long? Long time. This is kind of funny. It'd be interesting to watch it. Haha. How much did it cost? 5?
Yeah.
I don't have 5.
So
But I do respect brewers though. Like it's not a from scratch skill set that I have. I'm
I
very good. The running
same.
joke is I'm more German or no, I'm more Japanese than German. Where there that modification, efficiency, tune, get it to perfection kind of thing is more in line of me versus let me create something that's well, I don't think anyone's creating anything that's never existed before. And even if you look at their current format, the I try to say frequently that brewing in an eternal format is different than brewing in standard, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in eternal formats, the world over has picked everything. Let's pick this card pool over. What are the decks in the format right now? Right now, you've got Terror, relatively new, right?
Right.
Decks come out once you start getting new cards printed. Then you've got Lembas, so you have Borosynth. Borosynth has existed before, but let me do this real quick. When new cards get printed, then decks get created. And you have Tolarian Terror as one of those. You've got, what else? When they downshift a Monetary Swiftspear, those things occurred. But if no cards were ever added to the mix, let's say just from here on out. Yeah, that's a card. If no other cards were added, what did you? Come on, bro. That I can sort of deal with.
I'll say, I wish I was gonna find something else. I'm running out of stuff myself here.
If they cut the card pull off, then it would be overtime. There wouldn't exist, but so many. Only thing that would really happen is, let me do this real quick. This one and this one. You just wouldn't have a whole lot. It would just be whittled down until you reach optimal efficiency. Because that's all you're just going over and over and over. So new cards produce new decks for the most part. Archetypes will stay the same. Like that's understandable. This deck is so much fun. It's so much fun to play.
I think there's a way I win here.
I hope not.
No, that pretty much sealed the deal. All right, you want to do one more?
No, I'm going to wrap it up. I gotta go to work here. So really appreciate any other questions.
Yes. First off, I just want to say thank you for doing the interview.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
For someone who, where can they find you?
Twitter, White Lotus Punts. Threads, White Lotus Punts. YouTube, White Punts. And on your stream, which I tend to watch, I will watch every day, whether I'm in the meeting or not. It will run. So
I appreciate that. I'll have all your links down in the description for anybody who wants to check that out.
Nice.
The only other thing that I want to ask is, when you do these decks and stuff like that, your deck reviews and everything like that, when are you ever going to stream them?
The way I envision it is if I start seeing the format or the meta become a little stale, so you're looking at 8 different decks or 8 deck mods per month. Mm-hmm. So you certainly could go, we're going to do Club Red, which we've already done. And then you could do an RDW style deck or a burn deck. I mean, there's all kinds of flavors of red. But I try not to do it that way. But if I see the format getting a little stale, or there's really not, by innovation, maybe it's just our card choice, right? Maybe the meta shifts from they're no longer running, I'm not saying this would happen, but they're no longer running Chainer's Edict, they're running Diabolic Edict instead. And maybe the commentary is there. But if it stales out, I think it would probably be, I can do a deck review a week and a stream per week.
Yeah.
Right now, I can still find enough content for 2 a week. And then it may be a substitution where it's like, I'm just not seeing anything out there that deserves commentary. Like when I saw Stompy, I was like, wow, it's been a while since I've seen that even remotely be playable.
Right.
Like 100, elves just got run out. Mainly because of the end of the festivities, but then Stone Something Mystic played it to a decent finish. I don't think it's positioned very well overall. But again, it's just certain archetypes. When you see sweepers go away, do you just go back to maybe now is the time to pull elves off the shelf for this meta call, right? No one's running Weather the Storm or this, that, and the other anymore. Maybe you switch from a Kadaltha version to a more traditional burn version because it's much easier and faster that way. So, but right now there's still enough decks out there. Like there's Sultai Control that I got someone. There's a Sultai Terror version, but I'm a little leery of that because sometimes it's like somebody the other day said, really just another Terror deck. I'm like, right, yeah. So you added green for one card, that kind of thing. But yeah, I wouldn't mind doing it. I certainly have to get the hang of if that stream had a lot of people in it. We're in a 05 because something's going to catch my attention and be like,
right. Yeah,
I got to learn that cadence of like when you're focusing and then when you're looking, right?
Yeah. It's definitely, it can be hard. That's what sometimes I'll just flat out say. It's like, hold on, I got to pay attention to the game. It's like,
yeah,
it's Magic's kind of a intensive, like, focus kind of game. Not saying like other games aren't, but I just feel like Magic's kind of, it's hard to bounce between the two. I definitely prioritize chat over the game. Unless I'm in a league, then I'm definitely prioritizing the game over the chat because money. But outside of that, I do have two questions we can end on, and they kind of go together. One is, what is your favorite deck? And then two is, what is your favorite card of all time?
Favorite deck of all time?
Yep.
Favorite deck of all time is Callblade, for sure. That menace that it was. Mainly, I had an attachment to it, and I felt like I had a little bit of something to contribute to it, but it was just so damn powerful. Once it had Sword of Feast and Famine in it, like Stoneforge and the Sword of Feast and Famine, tap out, it hits, untap, play, get in. Like it's ridiculous, right? It was just super fun to play, but that's more of just feeling that the general overall power of it. But it's not really my personality. Like I'm more in the Jund colors than I am over here. But that was my favorite. I mean, there's a lot that I like to play. Whatever wins, we'll go with that. Burn. My son's the one that converted me to Burn, right? Like for the longest time, I played just blue-white control or blue-black control. Like that's all I would play. And we had numerous discussions because I was, like, Burn, man, that's for like little kids and shit. And he's like, no, there's a lot more to it. I mean, just long conversation. I'm like, yeah, it's not as easy as what people think. It might look like it, right? But there's a lot that goes into it. Favorite card of all time is Lightning Bolt.
Lightning Bolt, the Bolt.
It has to be Lightning Bolt. I mean, such a great history, such great flavor when when Wizards did the 5 cards at 1 mana a piece. Ancestral Recall for blue. That's a great card, obviously. The other colors, I think, probably didn't fare so well, but Dark Ritual, that's decent. It was printed, but Lightning Bolt out of that SWAT is just so it played in so many formats. Great utility. Like, is there a card? I mean, Ancestral Recall certainly is blue, right? Like that just captures the flavor of it very, very well. But I think all Bolt does too. Like, it's just like the word is just used, right? Bolt the bird or bolt to the face. Just
not even referencing
flavor.
Lightning Bolt. It could be referencing any other kind of card that's 100%. A similar effect.
Yeah, it's a card I hold very close. A lot of things can happen with Bolt. Such great utility.
Then I'm gonna sneak in another question because I just thought about, you talked about your son and stuff playing. What does your son think about your content?
He will tell me it's good, and no matter what I put out, he's always telling me how to make it better. It is literally like he'll compliment, that was really good, that was great. No, he won't say that's great. That was very good. I enjoyed it. Now, this might be better. I don't like this transition. The whoosh was too loud. When you do the slap sound, you got to really tone that down. When you do a transition, if I see like 2 different screens on the screen, it's confusing to me. I don't like that. Everything is just about improvement, perfection, efficiency over and over. It's a very quick, it was good. Now on to what you need to be working on, that kind of thing.
Right.
Which, you know, he's 30 years old, and it's kind of a weird thing, but I don't have anything in me that feels like I'm older, therefore I'm smarter and wiser and whatever. Maybe it sounds that way, but I really don't. Like, I've never, in the world that we live in now, it's completely no one prepared for this. Like, it is so, I don't remember, I don't know who came up with the quote or the phrase. I'll probably get it wrong, but the way you were raised is for a world that no longer exists, right? Something like that. So I'm like, yeah, everything that you would have been taught or learned growing up doesn't mean some of the fundamentals and principles aren't the same. But the world that exists now, no one is prepared for. No one's ever lived in this kind of environment. So I don't have that kind of boomer or silent generation of looking down and just do it like we did it kind of thing. Like, that's not going to work. And the relationship I have with my son and my daughter, really, but on the magic side, my son, the approach I take is, I think the success we'll have going forward is better if we all just acknowledge we have no idea what the hell the future looks like. So why don't we try to navigate it together the best we can? Because everyone's going to bring a different skill set to the table, regardless of age or years or this or that. So it's kind of like playing a video game, really, multiplayer video game. Like, what do you bring? Oh, you're a quick thinker. Like, my wife does not think. She's very witty from a speed sense, but she is very slow and methodical, which is good because my son and myself are very fast in the moment, where she is processing it not slower, because it's not that. She is accounting for more variables. Where my son and I, like, the difference between a fast thinker and a slow thinker, a fast thinker can see a whole bunch of variables, very quickly prioritize which three are the most important. Let's attack those and the hell with the rest. Where a slower thinker is going, okay, we all see that there are 20 variables, but the slower thinker is taking an allocation of priority among greater variables. So by them including more variables in there, they have to think of the outcomes. So the fast thinkers thinking like, hurry up and get there. They're like, no, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that you haven't seen here. So it's a matter of prioritization. So take all that skill set, all those things, bring them in, and just do the best you can to navigate life the best that you can. You only got one shot at it.
That's a.
I know it's cliche, but it's true. And this is a thing I always put on the end of that. The older you get, the truer this gets. The days are long, but the decades are short.
Damn, that's true.
And I'm like, that is 100% true. Like, you blink and like, damn, didn't I just graduate high school?
Yeah, now I'm 30.
Like, that was 35 years ago, bro, or whatever.
I feel
and it's
that.
like just happened, right? And it gets worse. Like 100%. Like, damn, you look back at like, where the fuck did life go? It boom. So I wouldn't say, oh, you got to make every day the greatest thing, you know, carpe diem and shit like that. Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You do what you want to do with your life. It is, you don't really grasp how fast it is. I don't even think it's possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have to have something to compare it to. So if you're 18 years of age, it's very difficult to think in time like a 50, 60, 70-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to experience time in order to understand. Everything is in comparison to something else.
Right.
So if something is beautiful, okay, why? Compared to what? Right? If something is ugly, all right, cool. Compared to what? So it's just a natural thing. So I look at the younger generation and say, I think we can navigate this better together. And that's how I do it. So he's always giving me on how I can be more efficient, better, what looks different, try this, which I appreciate. And I take that feedback like 100%.
Yeah, I can say I've seen it's cool that you kind of have your own little editorial worker, because I've seen from where you've started, where you're doing the gameplays with the music over them, and then you've moved into, you know, your commentary and stuff now, and I've seen your thumbnails grow, adding intros and everything like that. So it's cool to to watch your content and stuff evolve, and it's just getting better and better. So
Yeah, I appreciate that.
but I
All
appreciate
right, brother. I
it.
appreciate it. Thanks so much.
I just want to thank White Lotus MTG, White Lotus Punts again for doing the interview, but also again for being a longtime supporter. It means the world to me, and he is making some amazing content. I love his reviews on decks, the way he thinks about decks, and his thought process on certain play lines is very interesting and adds a lot to the community and to these decks as well, considering he does go out of his way to find some pretty different decks as well, even if he is a dirty burn player. Either way, if you want to support his channel, all of his links will be down below. You can go check out his stuff. Like I said, definitely recommend it. If you want to support my channel, all the links are down below as well. Thanks again for checking into this player profile, and we'll see you next time. Bye. I should probably say peace like I always do. Peace.